Alright, jetboaters.net fans, here's a video on the install assembly of the Super Magnum AK Deluxe fins and Cobra fins from Cobrasteering. Okay, so what you're looking at here is a fully assembled unit, and you know, one of the things that you're going to find is the trickiest part of this whole assembly goes on underneath here. All right, this guy is a collection of parts that will screw in here with a number of different bushings, and the hardest part is getting this plate and this bolt and all its bushings in through that plate into the jet pump on the bottom. It's the nozzle it's going to screw into, and fitting properly. When it's done, you'll see that it's kind of hard to see in this, but this ring here, Jeff actually says that you don't even need to put this one on here. I left it on here. I may take it off, but right now it's on, and it actually moves. Can't see it very well in the video, but it moves. All right, so what you're going to end up with is what you're seeing here, okay? You've also got the Fang fins and these stabilizer pieces in here that go in and they sort of lock into the jet. Now here's some tips for you. First of all, this is what that whole bushing looks like. That's the hardest piece to install. This top piece here actually is on the boat, comes with the boat. All right, everything else on this, in this piece here, well, these pieces here, comes from Jeff. He says this thin washer actually isn't necessary. I used it, and he says it's not necessary, but you know, it's not getting in the way. I'm going to leave it there for now. If it binds too much and my steering's too stiff, I will actually take this bigger washer off, according to Jeff. This guy goes up underneath there, and the hard part about it is fitting it into that hole with the plate. So what Jeff says is to do that first on its own, and then to assemble the rest of this whole unit together. I didn't find that terribly easy, but what I did find is that if you take, this is the piece that hasn't been put on the other side yet. This piece here, this plate that says this side up, is the plate that this is going to go through from the underside here, and you can see how it all fits nicely and it goes through that hole, right? And this bushing goes inside the pump, and you know, that's how it's going to end up there. What happens is when you put it in there, sometimes it catches like that, sometimes it'll catch like that, and you don't end up with it fully through the hole here, and that's what gives you the wrong attachment. So why Jeff says put this plate on first is because it's easier to wiggle this plate around when you haven't got all this other crap already attached. But I'll tell you, when you've got all this other stuff attached, it's so much easier to assemble in the finished product when you're trying to put all the things together, that I took it the approach of, first of all, I attached this plate and put this in, got the right feel for it. I took it off, I have reassembled this whole thing, and then what I've found is that once it's reassembled like this, it is much easier to take this whole thing as it is like this, and you'll see that, you know, doing this one-handed is really hard. But this goes around the gate, and again, with the tie rods and other things in the way, it's a little bit of a challenge to get it on there, but it will go on. Doing it one-handed again is not easy, and it just requires a perfect level of jiggling to get it past the end of this gate. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it with one hand. Maybe I need to go the other way. Let's try that. Yes, going the other way works. So then you get it on there like that, right? So you're in the right position there. These guys go up and over like that, right? On each side, these little sort of, I don't know what he calls them, he's got a name for them, but those catches come in on each side and it's going to lock in there over the top, all right, like that. We're all set. once you've got that on like that, and everything loose, do not tighten it up, everything loose, then you can take this lovely guy and insert it from the underside. This is the tricky part, all right? And this is the part that I said to you earlier, you're gonna need to be careful about. And you'll see when you get this in the right place, you can look up through there and you can see right now how all of the different circles are not aligned. What you want to do is make sure, as best you can, you get them all aligned. Now again, I'm doing this one-handed, so give me a break here, but what I ended up doing was, oh by the way, you want to put blue thread lock on that. You're going to get this in here, you're going to screw it in, and you know, right now you're going to take a look at this and go, hey, it's screwed in, it's great, right? And actually it's not, because you can see here, from here, there's a gap between this and the plate. Shouldn't be there. Even though that fucker's tight in there now, it's because that bushing that's above there is not going into the pump properly. So you need to loosen it up a little bit, keep jiggling, jiggle the parts, get the right pieces going in the right holes, and eventually you'll find that the whole thing will screw all the way up like this. Now I got it jiggled. Now all those plates are nicely together, right? I've just got it, well, I haven't even got it in there very tight at all. And it's still actually not in far enough. There's still a big gap there. But again, you want to keep wiggling that until those plates and all those parts are snug, but not so snug that you can't pivot the gate. And that's why Jeff is saying that this washer is potentially optional, because it may get in the way, for some people, so far for me it hasn't, of pivoting that gate. And again, what I got to do to finish this is I got to figure out which bushing, it's almost certainly the bigger one right now, is not in the right spot there. And I'll probably back it off a little bit here, undo it, do some more wiggling here. There it goes, slid down. All right, and then it's finally now in the right position. You can see now. All right, once you're done with the Fang install, you can attach the main plate for the back part. Pretty easy. Slots over the top of that, washer on top, bolt on top of that. Pretty darn simple. I'm not going to tighten it all up. I put thread lock on that as well. Okay, then you've got these guys. You've got a, oh, that's the wrong side, sorry. Hold on a second. Get this the right way first. You've got your whole big fin that goes on the side here. All right, you've got the bolt goes through, washer on the outside, and then a washer on the inside. You're going to take this bolt out. Again, that's one of the bolts that you're not going to use. That will go in there. Thread lock as well, blue thread lock. Okay. Anywhere where you don't have nylon nuts, you're going to use thread lock. All right, so that's going to go on there. This guy here through the top hole on this goes onto there, and then that piece is on, and then effectively do the same on the other side. All right, so this guy will come in from here, washer on the outside, washer on the inside will go in there, and it goes on the bottom hole here through from the inside, not on the outside. No washers on the bottom one. Reason for that is that Jeff says you want that to be breakaway. These fins come down. If you hit something, you want that stainless steel screw to get sheared off, and if there's washers and such in the way, apparently it doesn't let that happen as easily. And then once you've got all those on, tightened up, thread lock on this guy, thread lock on these guys, you're done. One last little note, when you go to put this on the side here, do not miss the fact that there is this bushing that stays in the gate head there, right? So when you come to put that on there, you want to make sure that that bushing stays in place. Again, you want to put some thread lock, blue thread lock, whoops, a little too much there, on that thread before you put it in there, and it's going to go through that bushing. So that bushing stays in, okay? And this whole piece screws in there. And then before you get it too tight, I just have this in place so everybody has it in the right spot. So I knew which spot it was going in. Do some pre-assemble. And you need to get that guy through there. I just do a quick dry fit of it there so that's on there and not on the outside. And then you screw the rest that in the rest of the way with your 5mm Allen. And that's how you do the side pieces. Again, these will tighten all the way down, and once you've got them tightened all the way, you want to make sure these are tight. So that's nice and tight. Okay, you should be able to still wiggle the gate, right? Because that gate should be free moving, and that's what that bushing is for.